Hello and welcome to the latest edition of Gaelic Lives. It's a Monday review show. A very busy one, Niall. We had 3 All-Ireland titles won by Ulster teams. Moneyglass, unfortunately, came up short in their bid for an All-Ireland senior title, and then Scotstown needed extra time, but they eventually got the job done. So I suppose a pretty eventful weekend in terms of Ulster.
Yeah, well, that's it. I think a great weekend, really. It was disappointing, obviously, Moneyglass missed out, but 3 All-Ireland titles coming back up the road, and I was down in Dublin on Saturday morning for Éire Óg's Éire Óg Carrickmore's All-Ireland final victory down in Abbottstown, and I made it back up in time to watch a very, very interesting Ulster senior final between Kilcoo and Scotstown, and you were at it, Mal, and it was a geez, I don't even know where to start with. A lot of talking points. The first half was a wee bit unusual, really, with such a heavy wind, and Kilcoo obviously playing the keep ball, which I thought was a smart enough tactic, and it almost paid off for him in the very end. But Scotstown found a way, Mal.
Yeah, it probably didn't make for good entertainment, but as we often find when you're trying to win something, entertainment usually comes way down the list. I walked the pitch, it was very breezy, and you knew it was going to be a factor. They made the choice to go against it, and as you say now, it very, very nearly worked. Like, I think Scotstown had their first 4 scores, albeit one was a 2-pointer within 11 minutes. And then Kilcoo, I think it was maybe out of the first 10 attacks, they rarely had a shot. The only thing that was uncharacteristic about them in that first half now, as much as they were playing that pedestrian game to try and suck the life out of the wind, they had some poor enough turnovers that Scotstown punished, and it was very un-Kilcoo-like in what they were trying to do. And that type of tactic is going to be dictated by how you do. And I suppose in the end it didn't work because he lost. But as you say, they very, very nearly did. Like, if they had been able to work a 2-pointer right at the end, we could have been having a very different conversation this morning.
And I think it was roughly about 15 minutes ago, I was WhatsApping a friend about the game, and I said, "Geez, Kilcoo looking big baller here." I think at that point maybe only 2 points on the board or something like that. But then 5 minutes later, there was nothing between them.
I know, and it was very much like that, because at half time, our colleague Alan Rogers was sitting beside me, and we were both chatting, and we were saying that, like, at that point, Kilcoo was in a good enough position because, well, not on the scoreboard, but they had a breeze that you feel they could have used. And the only thing is, Scotstown had a really good start to the second half, like, I suppose, and they got themselves into a position, like, they looked like they were the only team were going to win it. And then Scotstown lost a couple of kickouts across the line. Paul Devon, very accurate player, kicked a couple of vital scores. Kilcoo brought out Ryan McAvoy to midfield. I think that's probably something maybe in the long term Kilcoo need to look at. You know, can they find a full back, because Ryan does such a good job out there. So that was another turning point. And as you say quite rightly, it got to the stage where you actually felt Kilcoo were going to win it. And then Rory Beggan kicked an unbelievable 2-pointer into the wind to make it 12-9, I think it was. And then
it was like a work of art at that point.
It was unreal. And, you know, I suppose you need to be standing in the breeze to fully fathom how strong it was. And then a few people were talking about, the amount of time that Sean Hurston added on at the end. Like, I did a wee bit of miles last night. Like, I think actually the play was stopped roughly for about 3 minutes during that 6 minutes that he played, that was on the graphic and the clock. So there's a lot of fractured time during that time. So in actual fact, he probably could have played another 10 seconds, which is quite funny.
I thought it was fair enough, just given, as you say, how much stoppage there was in injury time.
Yeah, there was 2 big long stoppages, and I think Scotstown made a substitution. At the game, I didn't feel like there was, but I suppose if you're from Scotstown, you're thinking, where did that time come from? But and in the end, Niall, like, as much as Kilcoo sort of refused to go away at the end, they probably could have got it. Like, if they had worked a 2-pointer at the end, I know it was brilliant work from Ryan McAvoy, and then it was Callum Rogers, possibly a first championship point, maybe stand to be corrected, definitely in Ulster. And again, went the extra time. You just saw the scenes of celebration with the fans, and I remember seeing Niall Kane just like urging the Kilcoo fans when he's walking down the tunnel, and there was very much a feeling. There's very much a feeling that it was Kilcoo's at that point, and then I'm led to believe they won the toss and played against it again. But Scotstown went about it differently. Like, remember, the Scotstown sat off and let Eugene Brannigan, Sheelan Johnson just tiptoe the ball around midfield, whereas Scotstown just went for it, and it was a completely different story. And they got themselves into a position where they went on and they won the title, and they got that monkey off their back, and something they've been looking for a long time. Very disappointing for Kilcoo, and which is quite hard to believe. They've actually only won 2 Ulster titles.
Yeah,
I know a lot of teams would take the arm off for half of that, but for them to achieve, I'm sure that definitely doesn't sit well.
Well, yeah, no, it only really clicked for me over the weekend that they've lost 3 of the last 4 Ulster finals, and I don't think it says anything negative about Kilcoo that they've lost a few finals now. I mean, if you look at their record stretching back more than a decade, they'll still be playing at that high level. I think it's pretty remarkable, and they got their All Ireland. They've won 2 Ulster titles. They've won a zillion Down titles. So I don't think in the long run it's really a blemish that they've lost a couple of Ulster finals, particularly given how they played in those Ulster finals. If they were beat by Aoibhinn Daly last year, beat the Glenveagh a couple of points, they brought Scotstown the extra time. I still think they're a brilliant team.
I know, definitely. I would agree with you. It's probably maybe a case of where the competitive nature in them will probably think themselves that they would have wanted more. But as you say, that All Ireland title that everybody is mad to look for. But I suppose before we hear from Rory Beggan now, the story is Scotstown, like, they knocked that door. They were in extra time 3 times, and I was interviewing Ryan O'Toole probably within seconds of the final whistle, and just men coming up and patting him in the back and slapping him in the back, and it's that emotion that you can't, if you could only bottle it.
Yeah, I think particularly given they had that tradition of winning Ulsters and back in the 80s and whatnot, I think that does create a wee bit of pressure in a way. Like, I don't know I suppose you're at the game, but Kieran Hughes had a very good interview with Kevin Cassidy just at the final whistle where he said, "Kev, this is the one I wanted." He kind of put it into perspective about, Ulster was the big one for them, and I'm sure hopefully they'll go on and give All Ireland a rattle, but I think from a wider, longer term perspective, they wanted to get an Ulster.
Yeah, no, they definitely did, and I don't know that many people from Scotstown. Alan Gunn, who lives here in Maharana, saw him. Roger McDermott from Derry, over the moon. Like, Gráinne McAween, her father was the chairman when they last won Ulster, and they were both hugging each other after the game, and that's what she was saying. She says, Daddy can chat about a new level of history now, so there's a lot in it. And before we do hear from Rory Beggan, just before I interviewed him, his uncle sort of nipped in front of me for a photograph, and you could just see the absolute pride in his face. He was just waiting to get a chance to get a photo taken with Rory, who had just won that Ulster title. So great scenes. And I suppose to finish off, because we've quite a bit to get through this morning, we'll see what Rory said after the game. So here's the Scotstown keeper, who has ended up second top scorer in the Ulster Club Championship for this season. Rory, what do you remember about the final whistle, because it was iconic?
I had the free, I gave it to Max, he blew the whistle, I just ran, Max took me to the ground, and as I said, that's a long time having that feeling, you sort of, your celebrations after final whistling in your county title sort of dims away a wee bit, but this is, I said, the first red one, and the whistle, when he blew that whistle, I just couldn't believe it.
What was the most disappointing defeat you've had along the way? Because this is obviously joy, but is there one that really stuck for you?
Probably Brídíní, I'd say. Look, Brídíní had no history in the comp before that, and haven't been there since. Whereas you've lost to Crossmaglen, who had a great history here, and then Glen, who went on to do what they did. Brídíní's the biggest one. We led for a lot of that game, but in discipline and missed chances. But look at that. I say that's all part of learning.
How important was the injection of young fellas coming into your group this year?
Massive. I don't think the boys know how worthwhile that was, what they've done for this group.
I didn't fully
fathom how many of them there were.
Yeah, look, you've probably 5 of them now between the 4 boys and Mark McCaffrey, who's come in now. He's battled back from injury. So look at I would have been a part of coaching teams with them boys growing up, and you didn't really have to coach them. They were so intelligent, so good, that they won titles themselves, and we were just facilitating the movement for them. But look, for them boys to come in and done what to do this year, like, I'm jealous now, because the first year they've won Ulster Club and we went through all that heartache. But as I said, I didn't think 10 years ago it'd be 10 years until I win one. But look at them boys now, have the monkey off the back. We have the monkey off the back to push on.
Is there anything else you feel was different this year, Rory? Obviously you're champions, but is there anything you feel was the difference?
I think adaptation to the rules. Like, we have a lot of intelligent footballers there, from Darren, Kieran, Shane, Jack, everybody, and we said what's the best way we can use this, and probably defensively I think it was the big turning point for us. Like, what we shipped 5-10 here last year. When you look back, 15 scores to 14, we weren't that far away, just the goals, and it was about shaping up defensively, and I think that's the big learning for us.
Your uncle was informing there your father was man of the match the last time Scotstown won Ulster. What a sort of written in the stars, what a moment of history for your club.
Yeah, unbelievable. I didn't know, actually realise that. That tells me a lot about what he wins and stuff. He didn't tell me about the man of the match, so that was it was a nice one to have, nice one to compare with him with now. But look, Dad, he's been a role model for me. He took me to training and all that sort of stuff, and he supports me all the time. I'm just delighted to bring something else back for him. Said he always had this competition over me, so it's nice to, he's got 3, I think. I've only got 1, but still, I have more club championships, so I can.
Final point, Rory. You've obviously played at a very high level for Monaghan, but what's it like to be a Scotstown footballer?
Can't beat it. Everyone's going to say that about the club is cliche and stuff like that, but like, I just love that group of players out there. I just love what they represent. The massive role models, like, what to do. They come into the youth system, they come in and help out with underage players. And say, I don't know if you do that in other club, maybe they do it, but I'm just focused on Scotstown here, and what them boys do is give them back, and they're incredible role models. Make me the best role models over the next couple of days, but I think everyone will forgive us for that. But I'm just delighted to share a pitch with them, and I can be harsh on them at times, but look, at the end of the day, them boys, everyone came together for the big cause. So.
That's the words of Rory Beggan, an absolutely massive man. But Niall, it wasn't until you interview somebody like Gavin McPhillips that you realise that he's mad. I would have needed a crate to stand on. He was so big. Later on in the podcast, we'll hear from Knockbride and Amie Lynch. She chats about their progress. But I suppose before we jump into the camogie scene, Moneyglass, unfortunately, it would have been an unbelievable Saturday if they had won the 4th All-Ireland title for Ulster. But as you touched on now, and I know you did a feature on them last week and about the journey the club has been on, but I'm sure it'll be hard to get over at the same time for them as well.
Yeah, it was probably always a big ask to beat the Kilkerran from Bayern, if I'm pronouncing them properly. Pronunciations aren't always the strong point, but their opponents were going for 5 in a row, and they've completed the 5 in a row, and that probably says it all about the calibre of opposition. I was sort of listening a bit of it on the radio coming back up the road from Dublin on Saturday, and in the first half, Moneyglass were doing rightly, but then the third quarter, their opponents pushed away a wee bit, and Moneyglass battled to the very end. But it's really no shame in losing All-Ireland final with a team of that calibre. I think it was about 5 or 6 points. It was a bit like losing maybe to Jim Gavin's Dublin back in the day. It's no great shame at all, and it's been an historic season for them in many, many respects. And they might actually believe now that there is an All-Ireland in them. If they push on another 10 or 20%, and who knows what the future might have in store for Moneyglass.
Yeah, because I think they won 5. I think they won 5 minor titles in a row, and Kathy Curie herself was involved in that. So I get the feeling that the final chapter hasn't been written, but I do not feel like that right now. But hopefully, from their point of view, they can get back on that horse.
Yeah, no, definitely.
And you were obviously in Dublin, but before we jump into the Éire Óg story from Carrickmore, I caught up with Brídíní Óga. I struggle to say that name. It's one of my. But manager Chris Dornan, so they have won a 2nd All-Ireland title, and caught up with him last night as the celebrations were continuing. He found a bit of time to chat. Chris, a 2nd All-Ireland for the group, but I saw some of the scenes last night with the paper and the homecoming and the joy. For somebody who was inside that bubble, what was it like?
I couldn't believe it. I wasn't involved. I'm not from Glenravel, but they told me about it, what happened 3 years ago, and they were going to try and do similar this year if we won. And I thought, it'll just be a few people standing there, a few flags, and we'll go up. But I couldn't believe it. I didn't count them, obviously, but I think in the hall there was, and up the steps and outside, there's probably just over 300 people.
Mm-hmm.
And it was unreal, pulling up in the bus and stopping. I was speechless, to tell you the truth, because obviously I've been with my own club, Aoibhinn. We've won championships and Ulsters, and you go up to the main street and there's a crowd there and all, but just to see the way that the pride it meant to Glenravel, like some girls that aren't playing anymore were there. The hurling, a lot of the senior hurling team was there. You know, it was just brilliant. I couldn't believe it. Then the fireworks and all went off after, you know, when we arrived in. It was just very good. I actually said to the old manager, Rodney Kerr, I said, Rodney, I've never seen anything like this before.
And here, we're recording on a Sunday night, and I would imagine it's still in full swing somewhere. You don't know where, but it's still in full swing somewhere.
Oh, it is indeed. From what I could make out, I had a family engagement in Lurgan today for my wife's father-in-law's birthday, so I couldn't miss it. But they booked the bus as soon as they won and got into the changing rooms. The girls booked the bus and done a tour of the glens of Antrim.
Mm-hmm.
So I think they're back in Glenravel and the Scary Inn at the minute.
Brilliant stuff. And like, in All Ireland, there's no better way to finish the season, is there? There's not. It's just as good as it gets.
No, as I said before in one of my previous interviews with someone, I said, obviously whenever we find out you're an intermediate, your goal is to get to the All Ireland. When we were in the Antrim Intermediate Championship, get to as far as you can. They've done it before. But again, managers tell players these things. This is where we want to go. You don't know if it's obtainable or not to get there. But as we build up the momentum and getting there, the girls bought really into it. Like, as I said to the interview yesterday done for the Camogie Association, them girls have trained 99 times. We've played something like between Challenge Games, League and Championship, 23, 24 games.
Mm-hmm.
And then our junior team has played 14 games between League and Championship and 2 Challenge Games. So they're probably sick of looking at me.
Well, you say that. I interviewed Tori, I think it was before you played Dungiven in the Ulster final. And she said something along the lines of, I can't remember the exact words or whatever, but the first meeting that you had as a group, it was obviously very positive. The foundations were pictures of the foundations were shown, and it was up to you to lay the foundation. So it's been an amazing year to I suppose, plan it and then to see it all fall into place. Well, not fall into place. You had to make it work, obviously.
Yeah, like I always say to the girls, we can only give you a bit of advice on the training pitch, put you through the scenarios we think that'll help. But when you go over the white line, all we can do is either change your position or take you off. Like, so he says, it's up to you. You have the ability, you have the skill. It's whether you want to do it. And that's the way I left it at the first team meeting. I says, we had a plan, we wanted to try and, we're in Division 1 of the league, and obviously there's 4 teams ahead of us at the minute, but I said we should be looking to try and catch up, try and get on the coattails of like Ballycastle and that in the Division 1. We gave them a good half in the league, and then we fell away and maybe knocked the stuffing out of the girls a wee bit. Then we regrouped and they pushed on. And we were talking last night, we worked out the average of what we conceded in all our championship games. We conceded an average of 8 points a game, which if you told any manager and any grade or any hurling football, ladies football or camogie that overall your championship games you're going to concede 8 points a game, I think a lot of them will bite your arm off.
And then you had Molly banging in the goals at the other end.
Oh, Molly's savage.
You had both sides of the debate.
Yeah, Molly, such a nice girl, and she gives you everything. And she got booked yesterday. I'm always one of them girls, you get booked, you're kind of panicking that she might get another one. And she got booked that early. Somebody said behind me, you might need to look at taking Molly off. And I goes, if I try to take Molly off now, you won't see me again. I'll probably be buried somewhere. Because it's just that type. She plays hard in her sleeve, and some of the goals she gets, she can score worldly goals, she can score dirty goals, she can score kick them. Like in the county final, she kicked one to the net. I think she actually kicked the one yesterday into the net. And she scored 6 goals in 6 games, running. It's phenomenal, and that's the second time she's done it.
I think she's
done it in the 2022 run as well.
Yeah, Seamus McGlennon was telling me that today, and he doesn't miss a beat, Seamus, in terms of facts and stuff. So
no, he does not.
and for I watched the game on the stream, and it doesn't tell the full story of the conditions, and nor does it tell the full story about how deep you had to dig. And Tory was saying after the game, just it was a sheer battle, but the goal was important. Tory's points were important, but what was the difference on the day for you? Now that you've had a chance to properly digest it,
I think our defence really came of age, and our midfield is 2 minors, and one of our wing halves is a minor, and it's probably they're both second years playing senior camogie, and they were like 3 veterans out there. They worked like dogs. Then the older girls like Danielle Scally and that, and her Maeve Mahon, our county footballer, really went to town on the forwards, really stuck in their tasks, give them nothing easy. Yes, we can argue with some of the frees. We didn't agree with some of the frees we give away and that. But again, the work rate, the tenacity out of them, it's brilliant. See at training, like we've had to step in at training sometimes to calm things down, because it gets hot and heavy whenever we're playing in-house games or possession games. We have to calm it down because none of them likes to lose. And that was shown yesterday, our defence. And then, likes of Tory sometimes doesn't get a lot of credit because she's a free taker and that there, but when we get a free...
You still have to nail them.
Oh, that's what I said to people. I says, if we get a free on a good day, 80 yards out, like we played Cushendall in the league, and we got a free at just an hour halfway line, and she nailed it. Like, there's not too many camogues that I know can strike a ball as good as Tory. And the semi-final too against Cushendall, I wasn't there because my father had passed away and we were at the wake. We needed a goal to step up for 21-yard free, and she nailed it. Like, and that we were like a couple of minutes of going out at the semi-final stage in Antrim. So, Tory's a big game player. Like Molly, big game player. Some of the other forwards maybe don't get the recognition, but yesterday they all worked. No, they all worked, and I know it's easy to say that now that everybody worked hard, but they did. I was toying at one stage at maybe making a change or something, but I thought some girls maybe aren't getting the run of the green, but they're tackling, they're working. Bringing a fresh player in might not be up to that level of competitiveness. So some of our subs were maybe a wee bit miffed that they didn't get on, but I'm hoping today they're happy enough that they've got another All-Ireland medal.
An All-Ireland medal to finish off the year. Chris, thank you very much for your time. Brilliant stuff. And congratulations. No problem,
Michael. Thank you so much.
Congratulations to everybody involved. So that's All-Ireland title number 1. Niall, you were in Abbottstown. Had to start to think where all we were at the weekend. It was so busy. So Éire Óg have, I was going to say created history, but they just seem to keep on winning at every level now. So a great occasion.
Yeah, no, it's been a brilliant 12 months or so. They've won a bunch of very high value titles for the first time ever in the club's history. So I suppose they've crowned it now with the All-Ireland Junior B final, and they overcame a St. Kevin side from Louth who had been scoring quite heavily en route to the final, but Éire Óg's curtailed them, only won 5 across the hour, so that played a big part in their win. Éire Óg's also got 2 first half goals, and I suppose that laid the platform for victory as well. Saoirse Gormley with a brilliant individual effort, and what a season she's had on 2 fronts. Then Leanne McKiernan got the second, and after that, it never really looked like there was. It only really looked like there was ever going to be one outcome. Saoirse Gormley ended up getting the player of the match, and she played a wee bit deeper than you'd see her with throwing and whatnot. She was in the middle of the field, and she pulled off some great blocks and won a lot of frees with her. Obviously, she's very hard to stop once she gets the ball. Like, so she got the player of the match, and yeah, brilliant achievement for them. And it'll be interesting to see how they get on the next few years. You know, because the English have been the dominant force at senior level for decades at this point. A friend of mine was telling me that they recently won their 23rd senior title in a row. So it'll be interesting to see whether Éire Óg and maybe Niamh Fraser as well can knock English off their perch in the months, in the years to come.
Now, I didn't see this game. Sorry, we echo there. Sorry, Niall, I didn't see this game, but I heard Saoirse's interview and she chatted about a goal where she sort of flicked it over a defender or whatever. And
exactly.
It seemed to be a great goal.
Yeah, no, and anyone can see it because it was live streamed on the Goalie Association's Facebook page, and it was about maybe 15 minutes into the game. Yeah, so she sort of there was a bit of a rock, and then an Éire Óg player sort of played the sliver back to Saoirse. She sort of tapped the ball over a defender, but then she went round another defender before hitting it to the net. You know, so Maradona ate your heart out.
There you go. Maradona is alive and well in Carrickmore. And Niall, you spoke to as a joint captain Aoibhinn Daly after the game, so we'll hear her reaction to winning an All Ireland.
You're right. Can you just put into words how much that means? She's achieved a hell of a lot in the last 12 months, but the cap it off an All Ireland title is really special. I think it's hard to put into words the feeling of winning All Ireland with your club, but that definitely tops it off now. I don't even think I can put it into words, to be honest. Declan was telling me that they were racking up really big scores en route to the final. You did such a brilliant job across the pitch and curtailing them. I think it was 1-5 in the final end up. I think we knew they've had high scores the whole way through their year, and we knew we had to be defensive for that because they have some excellent forwards. The defence was outstanding today. They weren't giving the forwards any space to get a shot away. I think the defence was outstanding. It was such a brilliant day for the club to come down to a really nice campus here in Dublin. Great pitch, great support, you know, just the stuff of dreams in a way. I know we've had such a following over the past few years, and this year we've just had title after title, and now to top off this year with an All Ireland final with your club and the supporters behind you is just a feeling that I think you dream of. Yeah, and like you've said to me before, it was about the Throne Intermediate title really this year. I know, I think everyone knows that was our aim at the start of the year, but once we got that win, it was just up from then, and we finally reached the goal that we set out for. Yeah, a lot of club stalwarts, you know, put so much work into the hurling and camogie side of the club, and I'm sure it's for them as well. I know it's for the team, the club, and the community. The work that has went into our club over the past few years, and I think this is what has finally paid off. And nice to lift the cup with Isha as well. I know I'm sure at the start it was difficult for her, but she's probably going into the managerial side of things over the season. Alicia obviously suffered an injury at the start of the year, but it didn't stop her. She's been in the management now for a good few months, and she's driven us on to another title off the pitch. It just shows how the leader she is. That's brilliant.
So that's the view from the Éire Óg Carrickmore camp. An amazing weekend for them. This morning I caught up with Amie Lynch from Knockbride. They were All Ireland Intermediate champions at the weekend, and you can hear the interview from Amie here now. Amie, it's Monday morning and Knockbride are All Ireland champions. It's only a couple of days, but has it sank in at all?
No, well, it's just sinking in gradually, but it comes in waves, and it's great to just think about it and know that we did it on Saturday, and we were able to kind of write our names in the history books and bring an All Ireland title back to Knockbride. No, it's still sinking in. I think it will for a long time, but it's great.
Generally, you are bound to be happy with the biggest day of the year and a performance like that.
Oh no, like it was great. I suppose I knew I had belief in us that we could do it. I suppose you just wouldn't like maybe the pressure of the big stage to get to us. So it's great that when we got to Croke Park and we had such a massive following of Knockbride supporters with us, we were able to put in a good performance and put our best foot forward and come out with a win. So it's great.
You obviously had been knocking quite a long time in your own county. Mullahoran were the team that I suppose everybody was struggling to get past. So there's a lot on the season generally in the story.
Yeah, no, it's exactly where I suppose we're building for a long time towards this. We got to the intermediate county final last year and we lost to a very strong Mullahoran side. They continued on and they won the Ulster title last year. So it was great to get back to the county final this year, and we beat Gowna in the final, who are also a very strong side. And then it was great to keep stepping up the ladder then through the provincial rounds and to make it up through to the All-Ireland, to beat Navan, the Cork side, in a semi-final on our home pitch was just, again, another day that we won't forget for a long, long time. And then to get to go to Croke Park, it is, I suppose, we're building a long time, but we never thought it would peak, with an All-Ireland title. You think maybe at best provincial, so it's brilliant.
And I suppose a very big question for early in the morning and with so much that has happened, but what has made the difference this year? Because you've obviously went to the very, very top.
I suppose a lot of things a lot of the stars just aligned this year, I think, for us. Just different things, I suppose, went our way. Like our manager previously said it, I suppose, just with different things. We had maybe 4 championship round matches in our county championship. I suppose Kieran Galligan, our manager, just said, an extra match, it's just great to get in an extra bit of game time in the championship. I suppose we just have a lovely blend at the minute amongst the panel of kind of experienced. Some of us girls who maybe are around 10 or 12 years, and then we've just have a great injection of youth. Then this year we have some fabulous young players like Aoife Rogers, Ellie Riley, Gia McCabe, Abby Riley, who are only 15, 16 years of age, coming on and putting on some great performances on the pitch. So I suppose to have just that blend of a panel of youth and experience, I suppose it just made us a very strong side, and thankfully we didn't suppose lose to any teams, and we kept stepping up the ladder.
You often hear players talking about being the lucky ones, about getting to play, and well, obviously not lucky because there's an immense level of effort goes into it, but what has it done for the community? You're obviously surrounded by it over this past few days. I'm sure the crack was mighty, but what did you really notice about what has happened since the final?
Oh yeah, I suppose everyone in the community has just really rode in behind us, supporters, businesses, absolutely everybody. The support we've received has just been amazing, and I suppose we tried again not let the pressure of the title and the big match get to us in All-Ireland final in Croke Park. There's a lot of pressure and expectation that comes with that, but I suppose when the final whistle was blown, looking around, and it was been said yesterday, and I've never seen as many grown men and women be crying, so that just goes to show how much it meant to young and old amongst the community.
And I suppose that's not an emotion you can make up. That's
No.
just raw and natural and honest and what it means.
Yeah, I suppose exactly as you said, it is just raw emotion when you think of what we're after doing, bringing an All-Ireland intermediate club title back to a very small community like Knockbride. We're just a small community. We've a crossroads here. We've a pub, a shop, and a yard, and 2 schools and 2 chapels. So it's a relatively small community, but we've a big community spirit, and it just went to show, just when the celebrations and the final whistle blew, it just meant so much to a lot of people.
I was watching the Cahullions men celebrations whenever they won their title. There was all these torches being carried through the villages and Cross and Mulla and all the rest. But I saw something, I think it might have been the Cavan GA Facebook or LGFA Facebook, with just coming home in the dark and with the cup. That must have been, well, there are probably loads of moments, but I would imagine that was an amazing moment.
Yeah, no, we had an amazing homecoming on our home pitch. We were escorted in by our local Garda Síochána, and walking down through the pitch car park and seeing that there was a massive crowd and a massive turnout to welcome us home, and lots of fireworks and up on the lorry with music, and looking down on that crowd, it was amazing. It was, again, something that we'll remember forever.
And what does the future look like for the group? I know you spoke before we started to record. You're going around the schools today, which will be obviously a very important moment for the history of the community, and I suppose maybe inspiring people to try and follow in what you have done. So is that, I'm sure you're looking forward to that.
Yeah, exactly. I suppose when we won the county and the Ulster title, we would have went into the schools to visit East Knockbride School and West Knockbride School. I suppose most of the panel would have, went to those schools when we were younger, and a lot of the same teachers are there now again. So it's brilliant. It means so much to the staff and the small children, and it's great. A lot of them seem to look up to us as players, so it's just absolutely brilliant. We'll also go into Bailieborough Secondary School as well today. I think there could be a small gathering in our local hall today, maybe just so a few of the maybe older people who mightn't have got to see us yet and get talking to us. There'll be a community gathering today around this afternoon. So again, we haven't done that yet, so it'll just be great.
It just shows you that what you have done is a way bigger than your actual group. It's probably unquantifiable, really.
Yeah, again, I suppose in the lead up to this, I was just thinking like this, it's bigger than any player. It's bigger than us even it's bigger than us as a team. Our management is just, absolutely is everyone rode in behind us for this one, and, it just means so much to everybody, yeah, exactly. It'll take a long time for it to sink in and for us to realise what we actually did.
So you have loads of time to celebrate Christmas. Is it going to be the Christmas that's going to last forever?
It definitely is. After we won our county title, we had a few days celebrating. I suppose after we won the Ulster title, we won it on a Sunday, and I suppose we had a great night celebrating. But a lot of us, we went up to Dublin then on the Monday. I suppose there's a lot of teachers in our team, so they were back in the classrooms Tuesday. But
the Boar's Head, the place of choice.
Exactly, we visited the Boar's Head also, but we were back in on Tuesday night after we won the Ulster. I suppose we had a good day celebrating, but we knew if we had another 2 games in us, we could have an All Ireland. So we recalibrated fairly quickly after the Ulster title and back training Tuesday night. And I suppose it was great to get we started re-gearing ourselves for our home semi-final against Cork. So again, there's with no more football, there's no end in sight for the All Ireland celebrations. It'll run right into Christmas.
Is there a moment when you realised you had a team that could potentially do this?
Yeah, I suppose when you're, as you're building up to these matches, you're doing a lot of research on other teams, and we've met some absolutely fantastic teams. Some of our toughest matches were nearly in our county championship, as well as some really strong matches going through our Ulster campaign as well. But when you're I suppose when you're playing and doing your research on these teams, you just realise they're great sides, but I just if Knockbride ladies put in the performance that I know we can do, you just start to believe that I don't think they can beat us. And I suppose that's when it starts to sink in, thinking that like we can go to the top here.
Amy, thank you very much for your time. That's excellent. I hope you have a really special day going around the schools. I'm sure the people of Knockbride are really proud. So thank you for your time.
Thank you very much, Michael. Thanks very much.
So that's the thoughts of All-Ireland champions Knockbride. So what a weekend has been for Ulster, with Knockbride, Brídíní Óga and Éire Óg crowned All-Ireland champions. Scotstown eventually getting that Ulster title that they've craved so long. So thanks very much to Niall for his insight, and also for everybody for giving their feedback after the games. At minor level over the weekend, 4 Masters lost their Ulster title at the hands of Dungiven in a repeat of the 2022 final. Dungiven hitting 4 goals that made the difference. They now play Drummondtee on St Stephen's Day in the semi-final, and the other side of the draw is Brídíní against Clontibbert. On the hurling front, Éire Óg of Carrickmore were beaten by Sean McCool's of Donegal in the Shield final in Ballinascreen. So they will now play Ballygalget in the semi-final, whereas this Sunday, Kevin Lynch's will play Cushendall in the semi-final of that. Ladies football at the weekend, Kerry Duff made it 3 in a row in the Ulster minor competition. They were winners over Clan Éireann in Woodlands. I think it was on Friday night. So that's the lie of the land from the point of view of the Ulster story at minor level. And you can check out all our Ulster feedback on GaelicLife.com this week. And we'll be looking forward to the All-Ireland series. We have 3 All-Ireland titles so far. Another 6 teams hoping to try and join them. And as I say, our All-Star night was launched last Friday as well. So that's Friday the 13th of March. So that's what the planning will be towards now. So thanks to everyone. And we'll be back on Thursday with another podcast. The weeks just keep getting busier and busier here at Gaelic Life. So thanks everybody for joining in. And you can subscribe via Spotify and via YouTube. Thank you very much.